Welcome into the 2025 edition of the Gator Nation Football Podcast Film Review. I'm James DiVirgilio, and each and every week I'm going to break down film on Florida's offense and Florida's defense versus all of their opponents for the 2025 season. It's great to be back with you. As always, I'll bring you free content on both YouTube and Twitter each and every week. But this season, the entire full-length video for both the offense and the defense will live on Patreon, where a $15 or more subscription per month will get you full access. 2 videos per week, all season long. The link is in the description, so head on over to Patreon and join up now so you don't miss next week's video versus USF. Of course, if you're perfectly happy just sort of seeing the major highlights on Twitter or seeing the beginning of each video on YouTube, please continue to enjoy that access. It has always been my goal to bring you as much free content as possible. Any comments you have, any desires you have, go ahead and let me know. I'll do my best to answer them as I do each and every week. All right, without further ado, let's take a look at Florida's performance versus a very overmatched opponent in LIU. A lot of good stuff on film here for Florida that goes beyond just the opponent you play when it comes to how Florida got lined up, how they were organized, what the gap fills looked like, and just a general very successful day, one in which, of course, the Gators held LIU to 0 points. All right, very first play of the game. LIU's not a team that's going to wind up passing the ball a lot. In fact, their quarterback is a converted receiver from last year. He was their 3rd most productive receiver. Pretty impressive. Primarily a runner. Not going to be a good matchup here against Florida's defense in general. Early on, though, they had a couple of plays of success, as we're going to see before they have that fumble. But Florida was up to the task and primarily up front put a lot of good stuff on film when it came, of course, to gap control and then especially setting the edge, something we've seen on previous videos for years where Florida's really struggled with. And as I roll this film here, we're going to see right here that you're going to see Sharif Denson come in. He's going to take the outside line. What you do not want to have happen is this ball to bounce outside, then allow a block to get here and here. That's how a big play gets sprung. So overplay the outside. Make sure you make your tackle here to the inside where you can have a scraping linebacker to clean this up, right? That's the goal, and he is, in fact, going to do this perfectly. The tackle is not ideally what you want, but again, I'd rather have, especially game 1 of the season, let's over-index here to the outside. That's where we're going to want to be, and that's what's going to happen. So he sets up a little too far outside, but again, I like this. Err on the side of safety, make a shoestring tackle here, but a nice pickup. Nice pickup for the first play of the season here for the FCS opponent, LIU. All right, 2nd down and 4, 10 guys now in the box for LIU, right? Stacking the box. Florida's going to counter here with just 7. And this makes sense. You're playing an overmatched opponent. You don't need to worry about getting the numbers right, as you should be able to handle yourselves on the line of scrimmage. And LIU is going to run a little option here to the right. Now, Florida should be all over this. Let's freeze it and see what goes wrong on this play. Sap, right where he wants to be, right? Playing the gap, eyes in the backfield, watching what's going to happen. Does he engage this block? Does he go by? But make sure that primarily he's going to stay to the outside shoulder of the quarterback. And we need to get Jaden Robinson over here in case this play gets spilled to the outside. And that's not what's going to happen. As we see Stapp stays flat, make sure he can play both. Now we ID that the quarterback has the ball. ID, in fact, right, that we've kept the ball and we're coming out, and now we've got an option back coming out here. And so you do not want these guys both in the same gap, right? We talked about this before. Gap integrity on the opening of the video. Florida does a good job in this game. This is not a good job here. You do not want to be stacked in the I formation here on defense. That is not going to be productive. And you're going to see as this play rolls out, that's exactly what happens. Now we've got 2 guys in the same spot. Option rolls out. Sap's going to be there to deny this, well behind the line of scrimmage, right? We're a good 3 yards behind the LOS. And if we have our linebacker here further outside, then we're going to wind up being able to make a play on this ball right over here. This is going to wind up being a significant loss. We're going to see later on, of course, that Florida does force a fumble on a similar play. But right here, they're going to have pay dirt because we're out of position on this particular look. And as we roll this, there's the pitch, well timed. And now we do not have contain on the outside, right? Not going to get there in time. This is a good thing to see on film. Florida's not going to face a lot of option teams in general, but it's always great as a coach to reinforce how important it is, right, to have good gap integrity. Make sure you do your job. Make sure you don't do someone else's job. And in this case, Jaden Robinson did Sapp's job. Two guys doing the same job does lead to a nice gain. And LIU off and running here early on in this game. 2 plays and a first down. First down and 10. Florida's defense last season was successful in large part not because they were excellent down to down. In fact, very often they were not excellent down to down, as their pretty mid to low success rate showed. But they created a decent amount of havoc and they created a lot of turnovers. I think Florida's defense is going to need to be similar this season under Ron Roberts, and they get off to a great start here versus LIU, as we're going to have a simple quarterback keeper here to the right side. Again, this is really, really nice stuff from the Gators. We're going to strike a block with gums, strike a block here. We're going to get nice hand control here of the pulling lineman. Here he comes across. Going to get nice hand control here. Let's rewind this just for a second so you can see what we're looking at. Little GT counter early on, right? I know we all love this on the channel. Those of you who've been here for a long time watching this film review know all about the GT counter. Well, here it comes, GT counter. On the GT counter, you want to strike this train. You want to hit this slow-moving train here, if you will. You want to engage this stuff, hopefully behind the line of scrimmage. Muck this up and create a small hole while you maintain outside leverage so that he cannot bounce this outside and he cannot squeeze through here untouched. And Florida's in good shape to do this right here. And that's as we roll through this. Gums with a nice strike here on the outside. And then Jaden engages. Very nice. Good work. Then you've got a scraping linebacker coming in here to fill. This is great. Pausing this right now, right? Great shape. He comes here. We've got that covered. He tries to come through the intended gap. We're striking this block. We're striking this block. We've got control here. And we've got our linebacker sliding in. So everything looks perfect. Good plays often result from being in good positioning. And as he attempts to take this really in the only place it can go, you're going to get both Gums and Robinson putting a hand on the ball. Here's one glove. Here's another glove. You see a better angle of it. They're going to go ahead and get their hand on this and dislodge this ball right there, right? And you can see the gloves on the ball, white gloves on white jerseys, a little tough to see, but it's there. Ball comes out, and you can see Miles Graham is there. Everyone's kind of getting on the scramble, but then here comes the opportunistic Thornton from his safety position with a chance to come make a play. He's thinking, no way. Game 1, barely into the season. Is this real life? I've got an FCS opponent overmatched. I've got the ball right here. The biscuit's in front of me. I know I should probably fall on this ball, but it's an FCS opponent. I want to take this to the crib. Let's see if it just lays down for me. Oh, Miles Graham can't reach it. And it's like, this is the moment of truth, right? If you've watched football a lot in your life, you know that oftentimes this does not get picked up cleanly. Footballs are like that. And look at this, just gentle, like just caressing the bird right here. You know, soft, nice grip, eyes down, look at the ball, make sure you get it. And then he's out of there, right? And now we're off to the races. No one's going to catch him. Just a walk-in touchdown. All set up, though, by the quality play of Florida before that. And so this play doesn't occur, right, if you don't get what Florida has struggled with in the past before. And you're going to see an angle here that's not so clear. This next one's going to really show what happens here. I'm going to get right to it for you. Next angle, much clearer right here what happens. But this does not happen. Again, this play doesn't happen. In previous seasons under Florida, not so much last year, but in previous seasons, you would just see a scenario where we weren't striking blocks up here at the point of attack. No strikes here. Oftentimes not getting the proper leverage here. And you know, GT counters from just about anybody were paying off against Florida. This is how you stop something like this. Again, overmatched opponent, yes, but the concept remains the same. Striking block here, free linebacker over on the edge, right? You're controlling every possible thing. Your safety, strong safety, eyes in the backfield, ready to come downhill and help out. That is how this play becomes a touchdown. If you're not doing these things correctly, this play is not a touchdown. And then lastly, separate the ball carrier from the ball, right? Have active hands, get in there and make a play. And that's precisely what Florida does here. There it is, 2 hands on it, ball's loose, and Thornton's off to the races. So excellent start here for the Gators in this game, up 7-0 in the blink of an eye. Nice scoop and score. All right, first down and 10, next possession now for LIU. Again, crowded backfield here. Obviously, LIU is trying to use some fakes to give some eye candy to Florida's front. And all game long, Florida did a really perfect job not falling for said eye candy. I'm going to pause it right here. And here comes the first piece of eye candy on this play. trying to get Florida to take this inside fake, which is not going to happen. And then roll this out, little orbit fake here, roll this out, and then run option right again. All right, so Florida needs to make sure we get to the outside, scrape in here and fill, right, and hold this position. Let's see how we do on this look. Pause it right here. All right, perfect. Right again at the point of attack. Florida looking like they've got things wrapped up pretty nicely. Here comes Castell from his safety spot. Let's make sure we don't give the edge up here. We've got a linebacker ready to fill this gap here in Miles Graham. So far, so good. Everything looks nice and clean. And at the point of attack, Castell's going to come in here, and he is in position to make a play. But we get a nice block from LIU's receiver out here on the outside. He's going to engage here and then switch off and take on Castell as well. And it's going to be a pretty interesting interaction here. As here's the cast off. And now we're going to look to headhunt Castell, and Castell's going to look to headhunt him. And this is, I don't think either one of them are going to be too proud of how that worked out for them. Obviously, if you're Castell here, you really want to strike this block, right? In the perfect world, you strike this right into the window, right into this gap. You've got outside help here from your corner. You strike this right in here, inside help, and this play is dead. And so the right idea here to strike this, you don't want to just get swallowed up. We've seen Florida get swallowed up on blocks like this before, where you get taken out of the play. So you do want to strike this. Heart's in the right place. Effort here is in the right place, but this does not work out really for either of them. So the gap is still available. The tackle will be made, but again, both of these guys kind of turning around the the other way, almost as if they're on ice here, as they're sort of just pirouetting around. Either way, tackle does get made here after a short game. But Florida does a nice job here on the option because you got Sharif Denson at nickel. He is outside. So unlike our previous play where we didn't have anyone outside, the pitch is not available here. Pitch is not available here to this window, right? Because Denson is here. So he's got to go ahead and take what he's got here. So Florida had this all lined up correctly. If Castell makes a more physical engagement here into that hole, there is nothing here, and this play gets stopped for basically no gain or just one. Instead, you kind of get this comical pirouette from both players. It does lead to a short gain here from LIU. 2nd down and 6. Now, a play that Florida's defense has no doubt seen 1,000 times in the spring and fall camp with a little jet motion here, which, of course, you all know Billy Napier loves to run. They're going to fake this, roll out here, and then try to hit a concept coming to the sideline. Again, this is something that you would assume Florida's defense would be extremely well versed in, given that it is one of Billy's favorite concepts. Of course, also rolling out to the right. There's your exchange. Going to keep it. And then you're going to give yourself a 3-way option here. Going to have a shallow, a deep, and a mid. Really a shallow, a mid, and then a slightly less shallow, I suppose, in this case. But you're going to have a route here, right? You're going to have a route coming in here, and then a route coming over the top here. Now, nothing is going to be here. Florida's going to cover this up well. Again, not surprising. This is a concept I think Florida is very comfortable with. We get nice pressure from Gums. Nice lockup here. And I want to show you the most important player who, unfortunately, you can't see, right? I have the All-22. I can't show the All-22. But I want to focus on the most important part of this play, which is going to be Miles Graham. We talked about this last year with him, and I have chronicled for years Florida's linebackers having just really difficult time, oftentimes, dropping in zone correctly. They would stay static. They would keep their eyes facing forward. They would lose contact with where the receivers actually are going. But not Miles Graham. Since the day he set foot on campus, he has put stuff like this on film. Right now, he is IDing the crossing receiver to make sure that he drops in and underneath that lane rather than just keeping his eyes back here and basically not covering anyone in case somebody gets past him. Now, you can't really see this very well, as I mentioned, but I want to show you before what Miles does so you can see how early he IDs this. So as soon as he recognizes this is a pass, he's going to do his job, which is ID the receivers, right? And first, he's going to ID right down here, and then we're going to flip around and see what is coming here. Is he going vertical? Is he coming across, right? Who can I drop? I'm an underneath defender here. Who can I get underneath to provide support coverage? That is exactly what he is going to do. And then there he is. A quick head snap, right? Look at him. Look at his helmet. You can see he's ID'd all 3 receivers. 1, 2, 3. Now, who do I get underneath? Okay, that's my guy. He's the one I need to get underneath. He's going to hustle there. He's not looking at the quarterback at all. Gums in pursuit. Thornton pulls off. right? In reality there, Thornton really shouldn't pull off, I would say at that point in time. I think you trust Gums to get him. You give this throw up here. Not the end of the world. You want to be aggressive, but I think in the perfect world there, you read that Gums probably has him. You might hang on a little longer before going for that. But regardless, right, put a little pressure. He's in between. I'm fine. We're fine with that. Live with that. But this is what's the key. Look at where Miles Graham is right here. Fuzzy video as I pause this, right? Fuzzy video, but this is where he is right here. He has ID'd this crosser way back here, dropped all the way in, and he's just now turning his head to make a play on this ball. And this, right, this is what you want when you're playing defense right here. This is bottling somebody up. Put him in a bottle, lock him up. I don't care if it's an FCS team. That is technique that is repeatable by Miles Graham. He's done it last year. He's doing it right out of the gate this year. That is excellent stuff to see from the Gators early on in this one. 3rd down and 9, and if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that Ron Roberts likes to employ creepers and sim pressures, where he's going to bring non-traditional rushers to rush and then take a traditional rusher here like 15, the freshman Woods, to play pass coverage. This has several benefits when executed correctly. Teams like Georgia have been using this for a while. Of course, Austin Armstrong, Coach Ham here at Florida used this as well, as a host of others. This concept is now near universal in football, but the idea is to bring 4 rushers, so just a normal 4 rush, no blitz, but make it look like you're under pressure and make it harder for the offensive line to ID where the rushers are coming from, make it harder for the quarterback to understand who's dropping and where people are, so you can run some basic coverages like a cover 3 behind it, but he's going to drop, and then he might come in here and fill, right? And so that changes the look of what you may do. And that, of course, is what Florida has done under Billy Napier, really from the start, no matter who has been at the controls of the defense. And that is what is going to happen here, as we are going to see as I roll this clip right here. 0 at the bottom, Sharif Denson's going to come right in, and he's going to do the right thing right away. And if you're saying you already know what that right thing is because he's setting the edge, you are going to be correct. Notice how he's going to hold here. He's going to hold here, and he's going to wait. Why? Because his job is to make sure this does not get bounced outside. He's not supposed to come in here and make this tackle, right? That's not what you want. If he does that and gets beat to the outside, you might have a block here, and now we're off to the races, right? You do not want to make a habit of doing that. We've also got Woods now, who originally stepped back some. He originally was stepping back some. He now reads. He's dropping into pass coverage. He reads handoff, and now he's going to re-engage and come back in. He's going to re-engage and come back in. And now we have gang tackling. Jaden Robinson coming in here as well, closing down very nicely. And now we've got 3 guys coming in on 1, which is everything that you want when you're playing an overmatched opponent, right? Everyone meted the ball carrier, more than 1 orange helmet there. You've got a whole host of orange helmets there for the Gators. And again, this should happen versus an FCS opponent, but it all starts with really good eye discipline and also just simply doing your job, starting right there with 0, making sure that he sets the edge. 1st down and 10 now after a Trey Smack missed field goal. We're going to empty out the look here. Going to empty this look out. And Florida is going to play this very, very well, as they have been all game long. Notice the fill, motion man. Okay, right here. This is the key to this play. LIU is hoping he's going to read his read key here or here, depending on how they're running this. Could be either one. That's the read key, and he's going to decide to hand it off on this sweep or keep it. So Florida wants to make sure they set the edge here, right? He could be the one coming. He could be the one coming outside. He could be the one coming if they're exchanging, right? Different styles here, different tactics. The quarterback can't know which one it is yet, but he has to wait to see if they're going to move inside and let this jet sweep go, or if he needs to keep it. That's going to be the play. And notice how Florida plays this very nicely. First, we're going to honor that you are the outside edge defender. You cannot get sucked in here and let this happen, right? Which is what you want. You want to get a block out here and a block out here. We cannot let that happen. We don't let that happen. And now we're going to wait right here with 24, right? Cameron James going to wait right here with 24. And now we're going to see, okay, he's got the ball. ID that. And now we're coming after him. Let's make a tackle. Let's make a tackle. Let's make a tackle, right? Holding our gap, staying on the edge. This is excellent, excellent defense. Everything that you can hope for. And once again, there's Cameron James, had an excellent game in here. Misses the tackle there, but there's Jaden Robinson making a tackle, and then Miles Graham coming in on top to finish, right? So another example. It's simple. These are simple plays, but if you do not play with quality eye discipline and doing your job, setting the edge, staying in your gap, these kind of plays won't happen. And Florida putting a ton of these on display here early on in the first quarter. Second now and 11, true freshman. Guy was playing high school football last year, 15 Woods, is going to come in here and play this absolutely perfectly. Just watch what happens in this area of the field as he creeps in here, waits to see what happens between the exchange and the backfield, makes sure he sets the edge, and then upon making the right read, makes the tackle. This is just really, really good stuff from a guy, again, who was playing high school football last year. Let's get the play running. Here he is. He's waiting. Notice the patience he's exhibiting on the line of scrimmage right there. Now, at this point in time, if you're Woods, you're not sure if he's going to engage you or run around you, but you're still waiting to see what happens here. You are the edge defender. This is your job here. He's going to fill the gap in here, right? Gap, gap, gap. He's going to scrape in here. He could come all the way over here, but do your job, right? That's step number one, which is what he's doing right now. Notice how he waits to see. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Great. Quarterback now has the ball. It's now my job to make sure I beat him to the outside. I don't want to take an angle in here. I want to beat him to the outside over here, which is exactly what he's going to do. Notice his first step is out. Now we're launching. I mean, this is just so good. It's so good to see this on film. Outside here, right? Outside of his outside shoulder. You want him to cut back in where you're going to wind up having your help. You got a safety coming in here. You got a lineman here, hopefully breaking off right, getting away. Your linebacker here needs to be scraping over. This is what you want to do. You don't want to let this go out to the outside, which he's not going to let happen. And then he's athletic enough to put his foot in the ground, get an arm on him, and bring him down for a tackle for loss. I mean, that is just such good stuff there from 1-5. Really good stuff and worth being fired up about. This is a guy who played high school football last year, coming out in his first game in the Swamp and putting something like that on film. Really good stuff. Third and 11 now. LIU, of course, only converts 1 third down in this game, and it's not going to be this one. Simulated pressure look here from Florida. Are they bringing everyone? Are they bringing 3? Who is even coming in the rush here? And who is going to drop back? Let's look for ourselves and see what happens as we roll the film here. All right, there it is. So you're still going to bring just 4. In comes Miles Graham. Out goes Jaden Robinson. Out goes Gums, right? 34-29 out in 5. Make sure we're being gap disciplined. We're on the edge here. We're going to stay A gap here. Opposite side here. Edge here, right? Control the pocket. Allow your free rusher to come in because the offensive line has their assignments here. We've already missed the block on this creeper, but we're just bringing 4. And on top of that here, LIU is really just running the ball with their quarterback. We need to make sure they don't have a good lane to run into, right? What you don't want to see here is a nice big fat lane to get into or one here. And we don't have that. We've held up here, engage, make sure you're strong enough to shed this and make a tackle. We've got Gums, who is a dropper in position. And now I've got Robinson still locating where the ball is. Does he have it? No, not quite yet, right? We'll be a little quicker with that on the eye discipline if possible. Now you're going to see Robinson there, 29, late to realize where that is. So he gets lost in this play, but who does not get lost is Cameron James. Let's highlight him for a second because he's taking on a double team right here, right? He's in the midst of an absolute double team. And again, he's not a defensive tackle, but this is an FCS team. Here's what you can do versus an FCS team is take on a double team of guys that are much bigger than you, get the arm out, extend, and then just make a really, really nice tackle here, really all by yourself in the backfield. Then get some more orange helmets there. Have your buddy George Gums come and lay a shot on him. That's great stuff. Great stuff. You should be fired up there, 2-4. That is some really, really excellent football. And again, across the board for Florida's front 7, just really consistent football here. Florida with just a 6-man box here, but you're going to see the effect of running these creepers and sim pressures really consistently throughout this game, as Miles Graham is going to come straight through the B gap here with nobody even paying attention to him on really what amounts to a run blitz in this situation, especially with LIU running as much as they are. But there's going to be no pickup here. The offensive line does not ID correctly who they want to roll their protection to. And it's tricky because you just don't know. Is Gum's going to drop back? Are we bringing Jaden? Right? I mean, Florida's shown a host of looks against them, which are all very simple, right? These are not complicated ideas to execute, but it really does make things difficult on the offensive line. As we roll this tape, there is 5 right through the gap. This is what you dream of as a linebacker. This is the exact situation that you want. You're home free, right? Your DCs put you on the ball carrier. Now you've got to make sure you do the right thing. And I'm going to keep pausing this every time because it's great. Look right here at Sapp. Sapp's holding the edge, right, which is perfect. He's holding the edge. And then we've got Graham pursuing the ball carrier, everyone doing their job. If both of these guys are in here, he's going to keep this, and we're coming out this side. Florida's performance in this game was because of this kind of consistency. As we roll the film, there smiles Graham, and we already know he's an excellent tackler. You're not getting away from him. And that play is dead on arrival. I mean, that's just great stuff, 5. That's absolutely great stuff. Again, keep putting this stuff on film. Excellent work. 2nd down and 13. Let's take a look at Bet, the Baylor transfer here. He's going to shed a double team and make yet another tackle for loss for this Florida Gators defense. Motion across. Florida in a tight, essentially a tight look here with these 5, right? So, a little off. He's here. Perfect. But either way, got all 5 in the box here. 0 tech over the center. Inside the tackles, right? So this is an excellent run-stopping defense, primarily designed to make sure that you cannot run inside. And Florida is going to take advantage of this look on this play as well. But let's keep a look here, primarily focus on Bet. Again, the Baylor transfer getting his first look as a Gator. And it's going to be a good look indeed. Double team. Engage in the double team. Shed the double team. Get the running back, put him down for a TFL. I mean, that is good stuff. Yes, again, for the 50th time on this video, that is an FCS opponent. But anytime you're beating a double team and making a play like that is definitely one to celebrate, period. Right? They're still a Division I football team. That's still a great play. You love to see that on film. 3rd down and 14. Pay attention to Bet on this particular play. It's going to get a nice pass rush right through here. Pay attention to Graham, number 5. He's going to be spying the quarterback. And then right here is the matchup to watch with Sharif Denson versus the slot receiver. The slot's going to basically just drive into him and give him a quality shove here and run an out route. I think if you're looking at this on film, if you're Denson, you don't want to get a penalty. And I think largely that's what he did. He just put his hands up and kind of let him have that route. I think you probably still want to offer a little bit more resistance on the top of the route, but I get it. Like, let him catch before the sticks in this situation. Don't get a penalty. That's smart for this scenario. You might want to be a little bit more physical, of course, if they're not going to wind up calling that on the receiver, which often is not called. All right, let's roll the film. There's Bet. Getting pressure right on the top of your screen now. You're going to see that he's basically going to lean his shoulder in and drive him back off of our screen as Bet is getting pressure on the quarterback. This is where he's looking. Ball's out. There goes Bet down to the ground, and then you can see he is open. Now, the reason for this separation, again, you can't see it, is that drive off. However, that yellow line is not accurate, and that is not a first down, right? Not a first down, short of the sticks. Not great coverage there by Denson. Not something he's going to put in his own highlight film for sure. A smaller guy, or at least an equal-sized guy, sort of bullying him off the line there and getting a catch in the swamp. But a catch is made nonetheless. 4th down comes up, and LIU will be punting. After a Trey Smack missed field goal, Florida's defense back in business here on 2nd down and 8. Cameron James, top of your screen, 24, is going to play this perfectly yet again as the edge defender. Let's focus on him. Let's focus on the entire defense's flow to the ball and reading what is happening in the backfield correctly. Key to the play. Here's what's happening in the backfield, right? You got to pay attention here. You got to get this part right. What's happening with the exchange? What is happening with the motion? Eyes on, eyes on, eyes on, eyes on, right? Eyes on. These are your run defenders. Gap, gap, gap. Lock up, arms out, arms out, arms out. Make sure you can split in any gap right here. This is perfect. To teach tape right now on what's happening. Unblocked read defender. Now, can everyone continue to play basically more or less perfect football versus the run? And of course, the answer here is going to be yes. Quarterback's going to keep this. Florida's got that cooked if he passes it off to the running back anyway, which he does not. There's now an orbit coming across, or a jet rather coming across here and here on an option to the outside. Florida well positioned, eyes on, getting width to make sure they stay on the edge. Now it's our responsibility here as Cameron James to get out here and stop the quarterback, right? Everyone's got their roles. Everyone is in good position here to stop this play. And as we roll the clip, Cameron James, quick to the ball, is going to close before this pitch gets out. Is he down? Nope. His knee is just up. But even as we pause right here, this is great defense, right? Thornton is ahead of his outside shoulder. Even if he catches this ball, he's going to beat him to the edge with pursuit. Perfect. That is going to result in something good happening. And that something good is a terrible pitch. And there's Thornton again, finding himself for a scoop and score. He's lining up for it, but gets hit right there by LIU and can't take it in. But either way, 2 fumble recoveries for the first game for Thornton. And Florida yet again in business in the red zone. Just really playing perfect football defensively. I'm showing you so many plays because I don't care who you're playing against. It's just not that often that you're putting so many good looks on film. One more time like you see here. A quick close, great wrap-up tackle, forces the bad pitch. Thornton's there, box him out a little bit, and then pick up that rock. Awesome stuff. After a touchdown by the Gators, Florida now firmly in control, 24-0. And let's look at number 4, redshirt freshman Teddy Foster from Sarasota, Florida. He went to Cardinal Mooney. I went to Riverview, but I will not hold that against him on this particular play. Jet sweep handoff right here. They are going to catch Gums a little soft on this. You see Gums get caught up in the wash for just a second right here. You can see this is Gums. He's a little bit inside. He cannot cut this play off, as we've seen Florida do almost every time. So it looks like at this point in time, LIU is in business, perhaps going to get a block here, maybe even one over here, and can we run around the unblocked man? That's the goal. That's the idea. That's what they're going to be hoping for. What actually happens is Gums can't get there, but let's look at Foster coming in like a missile here, beating this block and then making the tackle, taking a little damage himself on the hit, but he is going to launch himself right here, square, outside. Again, this is nice because if you're going to hit like this, right, ideally wrap, but if you're going to lower your shoulder, you want to do it in such a way that you stay on the outside of the ball carrier. Why? Because you have help on the inside. Don't kind of dive in this angle and let him come around you. Make sure if you're going to do this, you're going to hit him, of course, and then also push him towards your help. Mission accomplished here. Nice tackle. Again, he takes a little damage there. A little worse for the wear, right? There he is. It's all good. Get that shoulder cranked out, but a nice play coming downhill from a young player. Look, we have seen periods of time here looking at Florida film where oftentimes there was no one to be found coming downhill to really fill and get to the line of scrimmage. And it's always nice to see that. That's why I'm showing it to you right here. Gators in another great situation here with 3rd down and 14. Thornton is going to match up. And it looks like LIU felt like that's what they wanted to target. It was either going to be a Florida safety or a Florida nickel. In this particular game, they've gone after Denson once, and now they're going to go right after Thornton. As we roll the tape here, Thornton matched up in the slot right here. And then just the same exact really concept that we just saw before, right? Nothing different here. Same exact concept that we saw before. I'm just going to rewind this backwards just so we can see the top of this. Little out route. You're going to see him get lost here in the shuffle. Here comes some contact. And then, this is a lot of contact up here. Obviously, it's interesting scenario to be, 6-7 yards behind the ball and you kind of both wrapping each other up. But he's got his eyes only here. He's just waiting for this out route to come free. And of course, come free it will right there. A lot of contact is lost by Thornton. But again, it's 3rd down and 14. Ultimately, your goal is to get off the field. And if they want to run out routes that wind up being 4 or 5 yards short of the end zone, you will let them do that. They can get off the field on every single 3rd down in that situation. You'd like to see, of course, tighter coverage. Again, if this was happening, let's say here instead, you might feel very differently about it happening here. But another completion for LIU, but this one is going to wind up setting up yet another punt. First down and 10 now, Florida up 31-0 after another touchdown. Let's pay attention to Devin Moore, a corner that I think puts excellent stuff on film and coverage. In this particular film review, it's not going to be a perfect play here by Devin Moore. He is the far edge defender. Eyes are in the backfield. He is now reading what is happening. So, of course, he could defend against the pass. If the quarterback keeps it and sets back, he'll be responsible for an area here as well. But right now, he is looking in as a potential run defender in the run fit, which means if the ball comes out here, he needs to come stop it, and he needs to stay where? That's right, to the outside shoulder, right? Force everything back to your boys here in the middle. That's got to be the goal. That has got to be his plan. He comes inside, except he's going to make an error that we have not seen too many people make. Rather than get out here and beat the ball carrier to where he wants to go, he is going to run basically at the ball carrier, which is definitely a no-no. That's not what you want to do in this situation. And there you go. So he breaks down this particular point. He feels like he's okay on the edge. He's outside of him. He looks good, but gets caught flat-footed. Now, look, what you want to do here, and I'm sure what happened here when they looked at the film in general, and I'm sure if Devin were sitting next to me right now, I'd say the same thing. Hey, you've got all these pursuit guys, right? Look at these guys. You've got an armada of pursuit players on your inside. It's okay if you overrun the outside. In fact, the very first play of this film review, we watched Sharif Denson do just that. He overran the outside a little bit. LIU picked up 4 yards because of it. However, you'd much rather do that than potentially allow an athlete to get around the corner, because then no one is going to get to them, right? So it's really important here, as Devin Moore works on this week, that of course he gets this part right, because you do not want to have that. Now in this case, you can see Myles Graham doing the right thing. Let's rewind this and look at what this looks like for Myles Graham, right? This is really good linebacker play, by the way. If you're looking at somebody who's going to do this wrong, you'll see a lot of guys want to just come in here as well, right? Direct angle to the ball carrier. Instead, Myles Graham knows my job is to make sure that he cannot hit where we are vulnerable. I'm just going to put my head down and sprint to the sideline and meet him where he wants to go, right? Be a smart runner, not just an aggressive runner, and then there it is. And now we're good. Devin Moore's caught back up. There's James. There's Myles Graham. No big deal. No harm, no foul. But if you want to get that perfect in your Devin Moore, you want to be a little further outside, right? Overrun that on the edge and make sure he cannot turn that corner on you at all. All right, very next play, Devin Moore. Again, this time looks like perhaps he's playing man, but again, with Florida's defense, he could easily wind up being a run defender here, which of course he's going to become one on this play. And, you figure, hey, the first time he got beat to the outside, probably not going to get beat to the outside this time. No way, no chance. And now we have a quarterback keeper. He's coming on a corner blitz here, which Florida likes to employ. Corner blitz, coming in hot. Corners, I think, have a really bad habit of doing this, especially in college. They get their number called maybe once, maybe twice per game on a corner blitz, and they want to get back there and make a big play. Again, your job is not to make a big play. Your job is to do your job. You are now the edge defender because you are the corner blitzer. You become the edge setter. Set the edge, turn this stuff back here. Unfortunately for Devin Moore, he's going to come in. Again, he's not doing his job, right? Why is he running over here? That's not his job. That's going to be the linebacker's job. Your job is to be here. Set the edge. Don't worry about closing this out. That's someone else's job. Your job is to set this edge and make him come through here where you can still get an arm on him, right? That is not your job. And when you do someone else's job, that's what happens. Around the outside, we pick up 4 yards and get out of bounds untouched. So a nice example of back-to-back plays there of what can happen if you just simply take the wrong angle, you overextend yourself a little bit. So again, a good opportunity. Film is always opportunity. Although on this film review, of course, we're looking for perfection. It's not real. It's not possible in football. You're always going to wind up making mistakes. We're humans. You look for perfection, so when you're playing the game, you are more likely to do the right thing on a play-by-play basis and not, of course, give up really important plays or big plays or third down conversions just by simply being in the right spot. 3rd and 1, you might think for sure now LIU is going to try to run the ball here, maybe once or even twice on 4th down. They've been going for it by running on 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10. Instead, they're going to try to take a shot here and see if maybe they can catch Florida being too aggressive to score a touchdown. Perhaps they can steal one. I like this idea. If you're LIU, why not go for something like this? You're in a favorable scenario. Florida looks a sim pressure look here, and Florida is in fact in an aggressive posture. So right at the start here, if you're LIU, you think maybe you have something going. They're going to run a rub route combination right here, which is going to go quite well for them. Again, zero here. Sharif Denson is going to get lost up in the wash. It's not going to be a clean exchange at this point of attack down here at the bottom of your screen. Again, not going to be a clean exchange right here. You can see that on your screen. You've already got a free runner underneath. First down line is right here, but they're going to go for more. They want more than just that. Again, this really is a shot play, not just a first down play. We've got time in the pocket. We don't set our feet at all because we're trying to get this ball into this window because Florida's defenders are very fast and these windows close very fast, which is in fact obviously totally true. But we do have a window. In fact, a very big window by college football standards here. Lots of places to put this ball, but you're throwing way off platform, sort of a panicky, hopeful throw rather than a quality throw. But either way, the rub route has worked on 3rd down and 1, and we just got to drop this ball in the bucket, but it's not going to happen, right? In the case of Florida here, that ball is going to be well off target, and Florida does close down. Nice job by Gates to get over top. Eventually, Denson recovers and is underneath enough that he's going to force that throw to have to be a good one rather than a wide open one. LIU takes a shot. Florida answers the call on 3rd down and 1. LIU would wind up punting. Yet another stop for the Gators D. 3rd down and 8, 41-0, and Florida still primarily has their starting defense in player for player. And here is Gums. He's been excellent, right, against any kind of read fake in the backfield, and he's going to do it here again. It's like just LIU could just get nothing going here. We're bringing the motion man across, and I think if LIU could redo this game, they would have used their motion man to at least chip or make contact with Florida's read end. Again, they don't do this because these plays are really based upon making sure the read end takes a few wrong steps so you can get bigger plays than just cracking him, and then you're going to allow your linebackers to have free run, right? That's why you're not. That's why if you're wondering why they're running by him, you're trying to get the fake. The fake is supposed to account for him, and then he needs to account for, your assignment here, whoever they're going to peel off of and get, right? That's the goal. Everyone's going to wind up being blocked, and you're going to play. You have to get this guy confused. Before, it was not falling for anything at all, and Gums is definitely not falling for this. And look how patient he is, right? And look where he is. He knows he doesn't have the ball. He's going to stay on the outside shoulder here and make sure that if either one of these guys comes out, he can beat them to that spot, precisely where he wants to be. He's so patient. Now the running back doesn't have the ball. Now the running back sort of just says, well, I guess I'll try to get in here and stop him because this is not working very well. And then Gums just by himself pulls the quarterback down almost immediately. I like the angle Castell takes here as well. Let me just rewind this for a second and show you the angle that Castell takes. He's running to the outside here. Again, good work. Run to the outside. Push everything back to the middle. Nice and nice, but Gums takes care of business by himself. He needs no help. Just a sensational play. I mean, again, he's the purposefully unblocked man. He's reading all of the backfield, which is a jet sweep, followed by a fake handoff, followed by a running back falling into him, followed by the quarterback winding up like this, right? Just sort of straight turtle mode down here and laying on the ground looking at the ref. The ref like, yeah, I feel it, man. Like it's a tough day for you. You probably just want to get back on the plane and head back home. And he's thinking, yeah, man, I'm good. Like I'm kind of sick of this 34 guy. Like he's literally harassing me despite all the fakes we're throwing at him. I just can't get away from this guy. So really, really nice stuff from 34 yet again on this play, and Florida just continues to roll in this game. 4th down and 1. LIU could attempt a field goal here to ruin Florida's shutout, but they want more. They're going to go for this. You think maybe they try and run this? They haven't had a lot of success doing anything else, but no. Once again, we're going to find them trying to take a different avenue for success here against the Gators. They're going to roll out and try to throw a quick pass, right? And this looks really promising. I mean, right here, if I'm playing quarterback, I'm feeling really good about any route that someone's giving me right here, especially if I've got this on right here. I pretty much have it, right? If I've got a double out concept, I have this all day long. I'm going to roll out here and put this here, and we're golden. We're going to 2-on-1 the most outside guy. We're in great shape. Everyone's feeling pretty good about this. Let's roll the film. There's your quick open receiver right here. On your screen, this looks like a win. This is easy, right? We can't see anything else. This seems very, very simple. Good to go. Let's move the sticks, keep this drive rolling, get some points on the board, and feel good about ourselves. And there's our ball, which is an okay ball. The only problem is, check out what we've got here. We've got a freshman out of Miami, number 6, Flowers, coming in to make this play, right? You saw him last on the screen. He's going to split the difference between the over receiver, right, and the under receiver. And by splitting this difference, he's allowed to come downhill as soon as he sees the arm release. He reads this, and he's going to get there as soon as the ball hits. He's coming through right on time here to make, look at this, right on time. Contact, separate, stopping him on 4th down. I mean, that is really, really good technique from a freshman there out of Miami. And he's going to be pleased with himself, as he should be, right? Lock down, put the belt on. That's great stuff. I mean, this is stuff that we have not always seen here at Florida in recent memory. We've seen flashes of it. We've seen improvements with it in the past couple of years. We're seeing it far more consistently now. I would say this is the product of 3 years now. This is year 3 of very consistent coaching with the same exact defensive style. Even Coach Ham back then, same concepts, of course, are being taught. But this is the first time I've really seen it, I would say, uniformly attached to just about every player on Florida's roster on this film review, from true freshmen to veteran players. You're seeing a lot of the same characteristics being exhibited, and that is what you want to see when you are building what should hopefully be a program, right? We're in year 4. You want to see consistency, and so far on defense, on this side of the ball, in this particular game, Florida displaying that at all levels. A really nice play here from a freshman to break up that pass and get the ball back to the Gators. All right, let's put this game to bed. It is 3rd down and 10. There are 15 seconds left. It's 55-0. Florida has covered the spread. The defense has played really, really well. The offense, a little malaise, different kind of film review for them, but the defense here has put a lot of good stuff on film, and we're not done yet. I'm not just showing you this play because the game ends. I'm showing you this play because we've got another freshman here out of Tampa on display, number 17, and he is going to make a really nice play to put this game to bed and send LIU home. Watch it for yourselves. Easily going to cook the left tackle right through. Got him, and then wrap up, put him down. Now, here's what I like best about this particular play is let's take a look at his reaction. Going to stand up here and act like it's just business as usual. I mean, there's no celebration here. The game is over. See it out. I like that a lot, because to me, if you fancy yourself as a high caliber player on a powerful team, you don't want to go crazy celebrating what you've just done as the game is totally over. However, make no mistake about it, I'm going to celebrate it right here because that was a really nice play. In fact, I'm going to rewind it just one more time to end this summary because we saw so many quality one-on-one wins. This is week 1. We're all excited for football. Have I shown way more plays than I would have shown from this game because it's week 1 versus week 10 or 11? You better believe it. But you know what? I'm sure most of you are like me. You want some film to analyze and watch, and that's what we're going to get. And we're going to give this its final due as I slowly rewind this in all of its glory for you to see the final play here, which again is just a really nice piece of work. Start to finish, cook the left tackle, pursue, put him down, business as usual, end the game. Just like it's nothing. Great work, great play, excellent stuff here from the Gators in this particular game. Going to wind up seeing a shutout in the swamp to start things off, and a nice finish there from Titus Bullard. So good work there to the Gators. Good film review here on defense. We'll see what USF brings this Saturday. A different challenge in the swamp, to be sure. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this film review. And also, as always, leave me any comments, feedbacks, etc. you have for me. I do these film reviews for your enjoyment. I want to make sure that you are getting the max out of them. All right, until next week, go Gators.